MAGA Civil War. Have you been keeping up, Sharon?
As much as, yeah, I mean, here and there. Yeah, what's the latest though?
So this whole thing, there's like a lot of nuance to it that I'm not aware of. I don't have Twitter, but I do understand the general discussion that's happening here. um, there are people that are like technocrats, like Vivek and Musk, etc., that understand the importance of H-1B visas. Now, this whole story is just like completely pointing out all of mega hypocrisy in one foul swoop. Uh, they said that they want people to come here legally, right? That's been the argument. That has been the argument. Now they're saying, psych, that's not actually what we wanted. We want to get rid of the H-1B visas.
Hmm.
And so Vivek and Musk are like, yo, hey, Musk runs a company that requires, if he doesn't have H-1B visas, he doesn't have workers. He doesn't have people that can put together spaceships. That's just a fact. And so they owning a business understand that you need H-1B visas, people that are here on technical basis, people that are experts in their field, et cetera, et cetera. If we don't have that, America flounders. Like how critically important H-1B visas to this country are is so spectacularly profound. I couldn't do it justice. We are the preeminent superpower in the world because we're able to go out and acquire people on these visas that can come in and help us. In fact, if it wasn't for, I don't know that they had H-1B visas, but if we built the atomic bomb and they rejected H-1B visas at that time, it would never have happened. It would never have happened.
Mhm.
So it's incredibly important to our economy on literally every level and even national security. And Republicans are like, no, no, we need to get rid of it. We don't want migrants here. So it was that they wanted people to come here legally. That's not the argument anymore. That is a lie. Period. Now, so they're arguing against it with Musk. Vivek is basically saying like we need people here, and now he's calling America lazy. I don't know if you've seen this. He's calling Americans lazy, and that we need people with better work ethic to come here that are experts in the field because Americans don't celebrate, in his words, they don't celebrate the valedictorian, they celebrate the prom queen, right? Other countries, they don't do that. And so uh, I don't know to the truth that that is, but might be. I don't know. I don't care. Uh, but anyways, so now there's like this split where they're arguing about whether or not they're going to keep H-1B visas, and Laura Loomer's losing it, uh, and there's like this big fight. And what I find most funny is that Elon Musk claims to be like the arbiter, like just super altruistic when it comes to free speech, like the most fair, like everybody can say, and he suspended Laura Loomer. He suspended Laura Loomer because she was speaking out against him, and then he makes up some BS reason, which is what they all do, right? I've talked about this before. I've made this abundantly clear. Republicans do not support free speech. They despise free speech. What they use it for is this double-edged sword. When people point out that their speech is detrimental, is harmful, is hateful, is violent, is etc., etc., they pull that in as a crutch. Well, I have free speech. You don't have free speech in the public sphere. You have free speech from government repercussion. They use it as like this ultimate principle, though. And then when people speak out against Musk, they ban him. When people speak out against Trump, they get banned. This is how they formulate and shape how argument is happening, is that they do this bizarro gaslight where they're like, no, you can speak, I can speak, not you. And anyway, Laura Loomer was banned, and also they don't support legal immigration. And so it's like it's just this big just booming disaster, and they're getting absolutely nothing done. Like this is a disaster of a transition. I think it's just setting up America for what it's going to be like over the next 5 or 6, or over the next 4 years, or 8, depending on whether or not Donald Trump leaves office. Maybe 2 if he eats too many cheeseburgers in the meantime. Who knows? But that's what it's setting up for. And honestly, I love it. It's just like complete like it's crazy because like they all know that their policies are horrible, right? And they all just live under this fear of like, we're gonna implement it. And then when they're like, oh, we can implement it, they're like, do we want to do that? Like, I don't know. And now there's, obviously the major argument happening in the Republican Party right now about just basic stuff. Like, this shouldn't be an argument. We should not be considering getting rid of H-1B visas because of how detrimental it is. And if your goal is to beat China, to beat other world superpowers in this multipolar world that we're entering, you need as much talent as possible. This shouldn't even be discussion, right? Because China has an insane amount of people to pull from, right? It's just a law of numbers. If 1 million people are born and one person is a genius or going to create something that's crazy, they have more people. They just, statistically, that's the way it is. And so if you don't have a larger, right, if you don't have a larger pool to pull from, then that's what you're going to end up with. And I've used chess in the past, right? Why are there so many male GMs, grandmasters? It's because there's a much larger pool. It's not because men are smarter or men are better at chess. There are some very, very good chess players throughout history. Judith Polgar is one of the greatest chess players of all time. Was a woman, and it just has to do with how many more people are involved in that particular pool, right? Like the threshold for becoming pro at a sport nobody really plays is going to be less than one where everybody plays it. That's just a law of numbers. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Josh.
No, I was just listening to you.
Yeah.
So there's an update on this. Laura Loomer came out. She says, "Big tech hates me. I'm banned on Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal because these people want to strangle me, and have been subjecting me to their caste system for years. I was one of the first victims, and I'm not going to let them victimize all you either." Then she puts up, I guess the only people who are actually allowing her on their platform is Buy Me a Coffee. So she says donate here, and she gives her Buy Me a Coffee link. But readers, they pointed out the funders of Buy Me a Coffee, the platform she is relying on, are two Indian tech professionals, ironically undermining her arguments against H-1B visas.
How did she get banned on all these apps?
I don't fucking know, man.
That's crazy.
Okay, PayPal, Peter Thiel. I mean, Elon Musk. I'm sure they still have people they know there. But that's
wait,
I don't know what she's doing. She's
Blacklisted.
pissing a lot of
I
people
love
off,
it.
though.
and you saw, so there's she's whatever. It's just gets happen. And so not only I guess did that happen to her, did you see what happened to Nick Fuentes?
Oh yeah,
So Nick
poor
Fuentes has
Kingston.
started a it's not a GoFundMe, it's on his website to raise money for personal security.
Well, he's banned too. That's why he's banned from a bunch of different ones as well. He can't do Cash
Right.
App or yeah. That's what
Well,
you do when
that's what you
make
get,
terrorist
man.
threats.
That's what you get, I guess.
So
He's asking, and what's crazy is he's asking for like $13,000 a week. Like
yeah,
what?
freaking wild.
That's
So
nuts.
apparently
And
they're dipping into Elon's background. Have you heard this? He lied on his H-1B visas.
That's
so
right.
apparently that's what I've heard as well.
Yeah.
I don't
He
know to
said he
the
was going to go to
truth of it.
school, and he
Oh,
didn't
he
enroll in
never went to
school.
school.
Right.
Well, I guess the
Yeah.
next president could get rid of him. So
Yeah,
if
they could.
that's
Wouldn't that be a hoot if they get into a little quarrel and then he's like, "Grr, deport him." That'd be fantastic, wouldn't it?
that
I
would be
didn't hear
crazy
anything
if
about
Trump was
Wiki.
just. That'd be crazy if Trump was like, yeah, we'll get into the deportation thing later and all that. What's going on, but um, right now, Mega's imploding over what shouldn't even be an argument. Right? This is like, and this is fascinating because it's like all of these moderate Republicans thought they could control MAGA, right? With some sort of reason. There is no reason that we would get rid of the H-1B visa. There's no reason that we would diminish it. If anything, we would want to expand it. And they're now arguing about something based off of purely extremist fundamentalist beliefs, just nativist beliefs that we're going to get rid of people out of this country that are brown. That's what this is. They can try to gaslight all they want. They're trying to get rid of brown people, period. There is no
Yep.
ifs, ands, or buts about it. They don't support H-1B visas, the only reason you wouldn't is if it's has to do with race, right? Because if it didn't have to do with race, they're coming here legally, which you've said you support,
Hmm.
right? So what would be the reason? And it would have to do with race, which brings me into another story that I'll be talking about in a little bit. I'll just mention it here briefly. In Oregon, somebody sent out a flyer saying they're going to do the Brown Roundup.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys caught that over the last couple of days. So it doesn't have anything to do with other than race. There's no other way for Donald Trump to invoke his policy than with profiling racially, because otherwise, how are you going? You're just going to stop every American citizen and be like, "You got papers?" How is that going to work? It's going to work in the same way. You say you want to give more resources to it, you could do that. You give more resources to ICE and to identifying and whatever. But ultimately, there's going to be a lot of harassment. There's going to be a lot of profiling, and that's what we're going to end up with. And MAGA is just like self-destructive. They want the worst policies, and they're. I think the thing is, they came out of the election thinking like, we get to do whatever we want, right? We get to do whatever and believe whatever and put in whatever we want. That's what America voted for. And what they're finding out is a lot of these moderate Republicans, they don't support that. They don't want to run against a Democrat after having put in these crazy policies, or in turn even be associated with some of these crazy policies. When we're talking about what Trump is planning on doing with immigrants at the border, I don't know if you've seen what Tom Homan is saying. We're going to set up halfway houses for children. This is what they're planning, you know? And this is not going to be supported by America. This is going to be looked down upon. And they can try and gaslight whatever they want. You have them saying, you remember they've been saying, Obama built the cages, right? And then you turn around, and now they're just saying outright, no, we're going to do exactly what we said Obama did. It wasn't his, the separation policy wasn't his, but now we're going to do exactly what he wanted, what we accused him of doing. So it wasn't about that. And it's just this long, convoluted gaslight that, quite frankly, you only fall for if you're stupid. Fortunately for Trump,
Tom Homan
there's a lot
was
of stupid
responsible.
people.
Tom Homan was responsible for the child separation policy.
Him and Kirsten Nielsen. And I think Jeff Sessions.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Because I think he was
Yes,
one of the main administrators
Steve
at
Miller
ICE at
was
the time.
there too.
Yeah, Stephen Miller. It was devised by them, yeah. The actual paperwork was signed by Kirsten Nielsen, who was the HHS secretary. So, cages are needed. Put yourself in one, bud. What? If they're needed, go ahead. Test them out.
Yeah, but Homan
Comments
confirmed
are
this week that a return to the family detention center is going to be part of Trump's mass deportation efforts.
What did I say?
Yeah.
And then they're going to end up getting sued, and,
Put 'em in
and
cages.
it's just like they're going to create so many problems for themselves out the gate that I don't envision them getting all that much done in the first 2 years. I expect a lot of regulatory things to change. I expect there to be some voting regulations that are diminished. I expect him to stack the courts and that stuff. But in terms of like fundamental ideological substantive changes, I don't think it's going to be the conservative right and MAGA running things. I just don't think that that's going to be the case. It's very clear they can't get anything passed right now. It's an absolute madhouse. Prices are not coming down. He's going to have to deal with inflation. He's going to have to deal with the outcry and the public hatred and the legal issues with the policies that he wants to do, because there's going to be a lot of them. He's going to have to pay out an insane amount of money for America's policies, and it's going to get significantly worse. And then there's going to be backlash. They're talking about sending out red state National Guards into blue states. Wildly fucking illegal. Wildly against state rights. Are any Republicans speaking out and going, no, that's not okay? They have the state right to do what they want? No, they're not, because they don't believe in states' rights. They only believe in ideological end goals. And I can tell you, if they start showing up to blue states, it's going to be chaos. It's going to be chaos. It's going to be out of control.
Timothy Snyder talks about this, and he talks about how people they're going to for mass deportation to work. They need to strike fear into people, and what's gonna push it into actually working is they're going to self deport. They're going to send out letters. They're going to say, hey, you need to show up here at this time because you are guilty. You have a warrant out for a parking ticket, or you have a warrant out for a speeding ticket, something like that. And people are going to be afraid. They're going to be afraid because they're going to see what's happening with the system, and they're going to not show up. They're going to go on the run, and they're going to deport themselves. And I think it's funny because this is literally how it's done historically. We saw it happen in the 1930s. And then the scholars they'll tell us about it. This is how it works. This is exactly how mass deportation works. And funny thing is, in this article I'm reading, Tom Holman says, in response to accusations that the process will inevitably prove cruel and inhumane, Holman has suggested that multi-status families self-deport in lieu of facing ramped-up immigration authority. Guys, this is how it starts.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think
Tim
that
Snyder. Tim Snyder.
terror will be the weapon of choice from the Trump administration, and yeah, there's going to be significant public outcry, and I think that for Donald Trump, like he may think that this plays well or whatever, but for a lot of moderate Republicans that are in these districts that are going to be hurt, they're going to be hurt by mass deportation. They're going to be hurt by people not showing up to work. They're going to have to answer for that. And you can say, wow, these people are, oh, they all support it now. Now, right? Who is it? Who was the person? Gore Vidal. Wait, what's his name? What's the guy's name? The historian. Did I get that right? Anyways, it's a quote by him. And it's the United States of Amnesia. People won't even remember that they wanted people to be deported when the workers stop showing up, when their economy starts struggling. They won't even remember. They'll be like, "Oh God, how could they? Workers, what?" It'll happen quickly. It'll happen very rapidly. Republicans will cause mass chaos in these small rural areas, and then their constituents will suffer. And suddenly you're going to have a lot of constituents going, oh shit, you lied to me. You lied to me. And that's going to be very difficult for them to rectify. And so how long until these Republicans start trying to save face? We already saw what happened in Florida when DeSantis tried to ban a bunch of people. What did it take? A week? A week?
40% of their agriculture.
Took a week before the commission, there was a committee in the Florida legislature that came out and said, we're going to deport all migrants. We're going to get rid of all of them. And mass panic started in. And within a matter of like a week, they got back up on that floor and said, oh, we just meant it as a political stunt. We didn't actually mean we were going to do that.
Oops. Yeah, we got somebody in the box.
All right, well, let's get to him.